Imagine a road where every mile could cost you your life. A road where gold weighs less than a skin of water, where silk can unravel into the sand before it ever reaches a market, where bones lie half buried in the dust-silent markers of men who thought they would return home and never did. You do not choose this road. Hunger chooses it for you. The mouths waiting at home, the debts hanging over your house, the chance that a single journey might feed your children for a year. That is why you step forward, though every instinct begs you to turn back. The world swallows you as the caravan begins to move. The sun scorches without mercy. Sand stings your eyes, clogs your throat, scrapes your skin raw. To the east, the desert stretches forever, rippling with heat, whispering promises of thirst. To the west, mountains rise like jagged knives, snow glittering on their peaks though the air around you burns. The caravan creaks forward, camels groaning. Under heavy loads, men barking orders, carts dragging wheels through sand that wants to devour them whole. You ride in the middle. Your cart filled with chests of silk, jade, and spices. Every chest is worth a fortune. Every chest is also a curse, for it paints a target on your back. You glance at the horizon. Shadows move where none should be. Already, the road is watching. By the second day, thirst gnaws at you. The water skins feel lighter with each sip. The heat presses down like iron. A boy collapses beside his camel, lips cracked, skin blistered. His father drags him up, pours the last drops of water into his mouth. The boy swallows, stumbles, keeps moving. You do not stop. You cannot. On this road, mercy is a luxury, and luxuries get you killed. Night brings no comfort. The desert freezes. Your bones ache beneath your cloak. The stars blaze above, cold and distant, mocking your fire's weak glow. Men whisper stories as they huddle together, tales of spirits in the sands, merchants who vanished and returned as shadows walking beside the living. You close your eyes, but the voices cling to you. In the howl of the wind, you almost hear your own name. On the 5th day, death rides from the hills. It begins with a shadow on the ridge, then another, then 10. Their horses kick up a storm of sand, their blades glinting in the sun. Bandits circle the carts. The caravan master bellows. You fumble for your dagger, small and pitiful against men who kill for a living. The riders descend, their cries piercing the roar of hooves. Arrows whistle past. Camel screams, collapsing in blood. The world explodes into chaos. You slash at a rider's arm, feel the spray of blood, hear his scream as he falls. Another swings at you, steel grazing your shoulder. Pain sears, but you grit your teeth, shoving him back. Minutes stretch into eternity, then suddenly it is over. The bandits scatter into the dunes, leaving behind blood, bodies, and silk spilled like entrails across the sand. 2 merchants lie still, eyes open to the sky. 3 camels bleed into the dirt. The master's voice cuts the silence. Pick it up. We move before they return. No mourning, only motion. By the 10th day, the desert gives way to mountains. The air thins, biting into your lungs. Snow blinds. Your eyes burns your skin. The path narrows to a ledge barely wide enough for the carts. To one side, a wall of ice. To the other, a drop so sheer you cannot see the bottom. A wheel splinters. A camel slips. The scream echoes off the cliffs as man and beast tumble into the abyss. Their cargo, jade silk, saffron vanishes into the void. No one looks down. One speaks. The caravan moves on. At night, you dream of home, of your daughter chasing chickens in the yard, of your wife kneading bread, flour soft on her hands, the smell of mint tea at dawn. You whisper their names to yourself like charms against the dark. But each morning, you wake to the same truth. They are farther away than ever, and the road stretches endless before you. On the 20th day, sickness strikes. A man begins coughing. Blood into the snow. Another burns with fever, skin clammy, eyes wild. They try to hide it, but the smell of rot spreads. The caravan master orders them left behind. You watch as they beg, pleading to walk slower, to rest, to live. But the line does not stop, cannot. Their cries echo long after they are gone, carried on the wind until silence swallows them whole. By the time you reach the pass, your body feels carved from stone. Your lips are cracked, your eyes hollow, your hands raw from rains. The fires flicker weakly against the cold. You sit staring into the flames and realize the truth that merchants whisper only in secret. This road does not lead to riches. It leads to graves. Asterisk. It scrapes the pass clean, knives of ice in every gust. You pull the cloak tighter and follow the line of camels as the road tilts down from snow into stone, and then it lasts into a basin of pale dunes that shift as if breathing. Somewhere beyond that rippling sea, men say, a city waits with wells and shade and gold enough to justify every scar. Men say many things. At twilight, a stranger steps from a stand of tamarisk, a scarf masking his face. I raise his both hands empty. I know a way, he calls over the wind. Shorter than the caravan track, fewer patrols, fewer tolls. His eyes glitter, but not free. The master with the blind eye studies him for a long time. Then he nods. A bolt of silk changes hands. The stranger whistles. Two thin horses sidle from the brush. Follow, he says, and rides into the dunes. You taste the decision like grit. Night swallows the ridgelines. The stars blur behind a gauze of sand. The stranger leads by lantern, weaving a snake's path through troughs where wheels sink and men curse. By midnight the wind wakes angry, rises in a low moan, then a shriek. Sand lifts from the earth and becomes a wall. Cover your faces. Someone screams. You wrap your scarf and drop behind a cart. Camels bawl, ropes snap. A man stumbles into the dark, yelling a name you don't know. The lantern is torn from the stranger's hand and rolls like a star, then dies. The world reduces to sting and roar and the feel of your own bones shaking. When the storm passes, the dunes are new creatures. Half the stakes you pounded are gone. One cart lies on its side like a dead beetle. 2 skins of water gone. Stranger counts heads with the blind-eyed master, then shakes sand from his sleeve and says lightly, "This happens." It sounds like a joke, told at the wrong funeral. By dawn, a whisper runs the line. 2 camels missing. They broke loose in the storm, the stranger says. His horse nickers, heavier at the saddle than before. You say nothing? The master says nothing. The caravan moves, day stretches thin. Water rations thin with it. The boy who collapsed on the second day still walks, but his lips are white now. His father drags him by the wrist and does not meet anyone's eyes. A merchant from Bukhara mutters prayers until his voice breaks. Your own tongue feels like leather. Near noon, the stranger veers left. An old well, he calls back, cheerful as a market hawker, buried but sweet. You crest a dune and see nothing. Sand and a ring of stones, half swallowed. The men dig with plates and cook pans. Sand avalanches back into the hole as fast as they throw it out. After an hour, someone hits wood. The cover lifts with a sigh and reveals only black air dry. The stranger shrugs. The years change everything, he says. Smiles with his eyes and tugs his scarf up over his face. The blind-eyed master does not speak. He rides his pony forward, slow as grinding millstones, and reaches for the stranger's reins. The stranger twists. For a heartbeat, you see the knife. Master moves faster than a man his age should, grabbing cloth, not blade. The stranger jerks free, digs his heels, and bolts down the lee slope, horse throwing sand like foam. 3 men give chase on foot, then stop, panting, hands on knees. The desert takes the rhythm and erases him. You are alone with the dunes and your mistakes. That night, someone steals a mouthful from the caravan's last full skin. The thief is caught not by sight, but by sound, the greedy swallow, the sigh. The master makes him hold the skin high while each man walks past and spits into it. It is uglier than a beating. It works. In the morning, a camel folds to its knees and will not rise. Silk and jade weigh on its back like a sentence. The driver beats it, the animal hisses, eyes flat with pain. The master says, "Throw off the load." The driver hesitates. Those stones are months of profit. Years. If a buyer is foolish, you cut the lashings yourself. The chest hits sand and bursts. Green gleams spill in a soft clatter, jade smiling up at the sky as if it has learned a private joke. The camel rises. The driver makes a sound like a wound and looks at you as if you stabbed him. You do not apologize. You will not apologize to a weight. Another man refuses, keeps his chest, beats his animal, swears he has carried more on worse roads. By noon, the camel is sprawled sideways, foam at its lips, the man kneeling in the sand, crying in a language no one shares. Two boys pry at the iron straps while he sobs. A third slits the camel's throat. They fill the skins with what life is left and keep walking. In the heat's white center, you think of your daughter. She chases chickens in the yard, hair stuck. To her brow, eyes bright with the thought that the world is only as wide as a lane between walls. You hear your wife's call float from an open doorway. You speak their names aloud. The names crumble on your tongue. A mirage dances at the horizon. Silver wide, laughing. 3 men break from the line and run, dropping packs. The master doesn't call them back. They will learn, he says. No one says what they will learn. By the time the caravan catches the place where water had been, it is a lake of salt. The men kneel and lap with cracked tongues. One begins to scream. The basin rolls on. Days fall off like scabs. At dusk, a line of poplars. At their feet, squares of water, real water, flat and black, smelling of frogs and earth. A woman in a blue veil scatters feed for ducks. She looks up without surprise when 100 dying men kneel like penitent saints and drink with both hands. Gardens rise behind mud walls. Pomegranates blush on branches. A dog barks. Children peep from a doorway, fingers in their mouths. You laugh once. Sharp and ugly because the road has a sense of humor. The gate to the oasis town is a wooden mouth studded with iron. Guards in quilted coats lean on spears and yawn. When the master offers his passport, a man with cold-darkened eyes turns it over as if it were a beetle. He points at a board nailed by the gate where new taxes are scrawled in a scribe's neat hand. Protection, he says, from raiders, from disease, from yourselves. The tariff eats half your profit. Then the weighing stones are swapped light for heavy, so it eats more. A scribe raises an eyebrow at the sight of jade pebbles clinging to a camel's fur. Undeclared, he says. Penalty. When you protest, a spear shaft nudges your ribs. A boy with a chalk tablet writes a number that is not a number you can argue with. By the time you pass under the arch, you feel lighter than any camel. You carry no silk, no jade. Your spices are reduced to a story you will tell to make someone else's tea taste brave. Evening dims the alley's purple. You barter for a stall and the caravanser rolls high, doors thick. A courtyard where water speaks in a small, patient voice. Men from a dozen cities pluck at their beards and trade news like coins. A musician tunes a 2-stringed fiddle until the air itself sits up to listen. You eat warm flatbread with your fingers and do not taste it. You sleep on your back and wake at every sound anyway. In the morning, the master knocks his cup against yours. We move again, he says. Beyond this place, the road splits and braids. Some paths lead to frost, some to marsh, some to kings. I choose well. You find you do not want to choose. Not because you fear the road that fear is old, but because you can see your house when you close your eyes. You can hear your daughter laughing. You can hear your wife singing as she kneads dough. You can almost smell mint crushed in a pestle, steam rising from a clay cup. You could sell the half-load you kept back, buy a donkey, take the slow tracks home. You could arrive with little and still be received as if you were made of coin. But the ledger in your head will not balance. Bandits took silk. Ice took a cart. Sand took 2 camels. Taxes took the part that bleeds without a knife. If you turn back now, the journey takes you anyway, because it took time. And time is the only currency that never returns. The master watches your face as if he can read the numbers. He smiles with the side of his mouth that still obeys. This road, he says, is not a map on the ground. It is a map in the heart. Men follow it because something inside them is always farther than their feet. You step into the courtyard's light. Above the gate, swallows tie knots in the air. A water seller sings the price of survival. Somewhere beyond the eastern wall, a child laughs. Somewhere beyond the western wall, dust lifts from hooves. You touch the place on your shoulder where a bandit's blade found you. The scar is a crooked finger, pointing forward. You choose. Not because the road promises riches, because it promises a story for which you are already paying. You tie your scarf, count your skins. You check the lashings on what remains. The caravan creaks. The gate yawns like a god. You pass beneath it into a morning that looks kind and is not. The road lies ahead, expressionless as always, keeping its secrets the way the sea keeps ships. Perhaps you return home. Perhaps you don't. Perhaps one day a boy will find a jade pebble in a drift and wonder who dropped it here. And your name will live in that wonder longer than it ever lived in a ledger. Imagine a journey where the price of water is your pride, where profit is measured in breaths, where the horizon keeps moving even when you stop. Would you step onto that road or turn back while you still could? For more forgotten lives and perilous paths, subscribe to Refound Legacy.